My name is Nathan King and I built Litmus. I found that I had many ideas, immediately jumped to the build phase. I didn't talk to some of the smartest strategists that I had around me. Hell, I didn't even know what a strategist was in most instances. Now that I have those people around me, I didn't really run those ideas by them. I typically overestimated market acceptance and I underestimated work, risks, and assumptions that were alongside of it. Add to that, I was unable to really switch context very quickly, either day job to an after job or from project to project, simply because I couldn't keep track of all the resources, tasks, and updates, events that I had put in place for many of these. I put Litmus together to help give myself a structured playbook. Structure is the second part of that. I found that I was having conversations with AI, which were often fun and exciting. I think everybody likes to get into a room and draw on a whiteboard and think about the future. But I wasn't getting any structured output out of it, and I wasn't able to kind of judge one thing next to the other, compare apples to apples, if you will. So I defined a format to help AI have that structured conversation with me and then help make that comparison. So let's jump into it. Excellent. Let's take a look at the Litmus dashboard when you first log in. Top line shows you overall metrics for your portfolio, total ventures that you have in the portfolio, the total initiatives that those ventures roll up to, how many of those ventures are active, market potential, and feasibility. You may be asking, how do we get to feasibility? I'll show you that in just a second. This is the crux of the dashboard. Items in the top right are things that you should be chasing. They have a business viability, technical feasibility, and market desirability that is very high. That's indicated by color and then position. These over here on the left have lower business, technical, and market potential. To get these ventures in, what I wanted was a very quick way to jot down these notes as fast as pen and paper, as easy to get to as possible. So I created this quick new venture, also accessible by hotkey, that allows you to roll title, description, roll your venture up to an initiative, set the status, if it's in progress already, due date, and whether or not it's active. Attribute profiles we'll go into in just a second. The sliders here help to indicate how this should be treated, right? So market demand is what's the likelihood, or what do I think the likelihood of somebody wanting this is, am I familiar with the industry? Am I close to the people who would buy and use this? Is it technically feasible according to me? The industry restrictions within the application, or that would weigh on the application. How quickly I could get an MVP up and running. A total number of assumptions, like are there a lot of assumptions that I'm riding on, which makes things a little bit more risky. How hard is it for me to maintain after it gets built? How fast is it for me to prototype this thing? And then what's the cost to develop it overall? If I was not the person who was building it, if I needed to bring in other developers, etc. And then scalability, and that deals with, how many jobs would I personally be performing? Now, all of that, I found that I am overly optimistic and overly eager. So I would always set these up very high. That's when I created the next portion of Litmus. If we go here to settings, I should be able to tell Litmus who I am so that it can help me make a more realistic rating and ranking. So right now I've got my profile pic as just standard regular old profile pic, but this is the important part. I can go to the About Me and I can edit the responses for this. This is something you would do when you first log in, something that you're forced to do before you explore a venture with AI. The three archetypes that Litmus is after: solopreneur, entrepreneur, and entrepreneur, where solopreneur is somebody like me. I've got money, time after work, and an interest. Entrepreneurs, multiple people, small teams. So think co-founders or a venture studio or something like that. And then entrepreneur are some of my friends in innovation and corporate entrepreneurial roles and systems. They're going to be gathering ideas from the organization writ large and being able to compare those across the board. Right now, solo entrepreneur or solopreneur is where we're focused. Get this out of the gate, and then we'll start working our way up. So this asks for technical ability, available hours that I would have, the capital that I'm willing to spend, the interests that I maintain, the special skills that I have, Very easy to add these in. Just clicking that button adds them in there. The LinkedIn profile, or my LinkedIn profile, so that can be scraped. Industry experience, where have I worked? So am I familiar with this industry? Years of experience total. And then that gets saved as my total, the total sum of my profile. So all of this gets passed in when we go to explore a venture. Now, the reason that I decided to create this was to ask AI to help me think about things from other perspectives, specifically legal, regulatory, scalability. Am I going to need a call center to handle multiple phone calls? Building an app is very easy. It's maintaining that operation that would be much more difficult and its potential downfall. In the future, we'll be able to explore an audience. So I have 10,000 people that come in and out of my building downstairs because there is a gym. So I could explore that audience and see what kind of things I could build to offer them. So I have a market. I would like to explore what I could offer that market, and then explore a problem. So I have a person in my audience who has a problem with blank. I could then use AI to be able to work with me to find a wide range of solutions to that potential problem, from easy to prototype all the way up to fully featured SaaS-based application. But right now we have Explore Venture built. In this, I'm able to enter my venture idea. What about a water bottle delivery service? Thinking about those folks down below me in their workout class. And I'm able to send this off to our AI friends. And it comes back and asks me some questions to make sure, or prompts me with some notions to make sure that it's got that right. That was the second thing I found, is that I needed to tell AI what I was thinking and then have it ask me questions so I could fill in the blanks a little bit more. So it gives me a nice summary. Water to go, a delivery service providing bottled water to homes, offices, and events. We're going to say specifically quick order for workout and cycling studios. Families and individuals that prefer an e-bottle for their day-to-day consumption. Actually, that's not right. My primary market is gym goers who are interested and need a bottle of water right now in New York City. So that's prompting me for a little bit more specificity. Value proposition, yep, that's true. Let's assume all of these things. Let's see, no reliability, no value proposition here is actually going to be speed. Get water now. And let's go up here and change this. Delivery service providing bottled water to people working out, about to work out, or who have just finished working out. Convenience, yep. Handle special orders, such as electrolytes or flavors. Premium locally sourced water when you need it. Now, as you can imagine, that's a pretty easy app to build, right? I should be able to open the app, set my preferences, click order, that order goes through Stripe, and that's where I typically would fall short. Let's assume, so I'll get to that in just a second, but anyway, my falling short is thinking about the app and the technology that arrives around that. Other people, my business friends, where they would fall short is not thinking about the technology that would be necessary, an app and a website. The other folks would think even less about other things. None of us are thinking about legal. And then market validation is where everybody wants to get to. So with this, let's say our logistics, potential challenges. Logistics, managing delivery efficiency routes, like getting water to people. Storage. Yep, sounds good. Health and safety. Yep, sounds good. Key features. Customized delivery frequency. Nope. On demand. Delivery. Wherever you are. Subscription model. Options for recurring deliveries. And one-off. I need it now. Range of choices, bottled water to choose from. I would say a range of types of water. Spring, purified mineral, and sparkling. With flavors and or enhancements. Success metrics not defined. Revenue streams, order-based, revenue obtained from single orders of bottled water, check. Subscription revenue, billed regularly for the water subscription, check. Flexibility, providing customers with options where they can choose quantity, type, frequency, high standard of water. Sure, let's go with these. I'm trying to make this a little short. So we'll click next here. And what's happening is now that we have provided additional context for the AI, it will come back to me and ask questions specific to the venture that we've just defined. I'm going to skip most of these, but I'll walk through them. What's the geographical range? No, I won't skip these. I'll say some of these. So New York City. How do you plan on overcoming delivery, storage, and transportation? Cyclists. If you live in New York City, you know they can get anywhere fast. What are some of the safety measures you're going to ensure that water is transported safely? Let's say seals. Not those kind of seals. Hygienic seals. Types of water can they mix or match water? Yes, as previously defined. That should be fine. More detail in subscription model. What do you do? Same day? Need it now? Yes. Yes. 15-minute delivery. So let's just go a little crazy here and say 5-minute delivery. Let's take the Domino's route to the extreme. So, as you can see, these questions help us think a little bit more about what it is that we're telling the AI that we want to do, and that provides us or the AI with a lot more context instead of just like jotting down a simple note. That allows two things. One, the AI has a better understanding of what's happening. It can give us a better set of suggestions and thoughts around that. The second is that it keeps me from spiraling out into this beautiful future that I can imagine where everyone's receiving water and I'm receiving Stripe payments. What it helps do is ground me a little bit to think about what is the idea that I'm really thinking about. And as you saw, we went through a primary analysis with several agents here. Market and competition, water to go, traditional supermarkets, convenience stores. Yeah, some people already get their water. Amazon Fresh, we didn't think about that. Additionally, there are some specialized water delivery services. However, their focus is not on the on-demand aspect. So I've got a pro there. And everything comes back, each one of these agents, comes back with a set of risks and a set of assumptions. These all get captured and tracked so that you can alleviate those risks and verify those assumptions. Because it's not that those can't be gotten around or that these problems can't be dealt with. The question that I'm asking AI here is this a good idea for me to pursue? And it will give me a realistic view of the things, but with an action-oriented kind of mindset and subsequently a positive outlook, right? So it's a way for me to understand what would it truly take for me to get that done? Me being the solopreneur. This would change for entrepreneur and intrapreneur. Detailed technical analysis, business analysis, market research, design, and then legal review. So privacy is always an issue. Water to go need to comply with various local, state, and federal regulations based in New York City, health and safety regulations. Okay, these are all things I was not thinking about, and I'm glad somebody or something is doing so. So now that we have all of those, we've taken the context that I provided, the idea that I provided, the clarification and context that I provided, all the risks and assumptions from all the various agents, and I'm shoving that into AI now to help AI look at the survey that I completed earlier to determine whether or not this is a good fit for me. And good fit for me is variable, right? So ideally, a good fit for me is something that's easy for me to accomplish, lots of people want, and would be very easy to maintain. The initial idea itself, water delivery service, here is the overview that was provided back to us, or that we worked with AI to build, and the agent review, so we can look at like the design agent, for instance. Here's all the risks that might come with that. Here's all the assumptions that might come with that. Business, market, legal, etc. But then the fit and ranking is against or measured against the survey that I put together. Logistics management, I have none of that. Delivery operations, I have none of that. Supply chain management, I have none of that. So I can build the app, I know how to market it, and I could probably do a pretty bang up UX. And then with that, it being Litmus takes it into perspective to determine what those metrics were. So instead of me setting those metrics just out of the blue, it sets some pretty realistic metrics, right? Cost to develop, 5 out of 10. I was originally thinking this would be an app. Why wouldn't that be? Tight, a mobile app and logistics infrastructure, something I didn't even think about. Market demand looks good. Cursory pass says this looks good. Maintenance complexity, this would be pretty hard, 6 out of 10. Ongoing maintenance could be complex due to logistics and technology stack. So great, so I'll now save this venture and we can see where this venture ends up within our platform. So here's our water delivery service. We're now on our venture detail. We can take a look at the metrics that we just went through. This gives us the definition of the metric, the value of the metric that was assigned, and the reason that assignment was given. The venture details, and then this is the venture map that we just originally saw with the fit and ranking, etc. Description, something I can help fill in when it was created, etc. The Litmus Idea Explorer is going to be a future iteration. The goal here is for a deep dive into market verification. Once market gets verified, there's a break point. If there's no market verification, I certainly wouldn't want to tackle the next part, but assuming I do, there is persona generation. So give me 3 personas of people who might want to have this. Those personas would be researched and developed, and then from that, I would be able to generate copy and landing pages for each one of those personas to be able to market directly to these to see if we get signups, interest, etc. Any resources that I have, such as the link to our to-do list or our Slack channel or any of these video or picture of a thing that I found, I can add and upload those resources here. Any risks that were identified, I have those here. I can maintain these risks. I can see if they're high impact, low impact, and then I can delete or edit them or mitigate them, if you will, once we get done. The assumptions that were created, usage patterns, technology proficiency, there's a lot of assumptions that went into this, given to me by my 5 agents, so I can tackle those one at a time and validate those or invalidate those. Events that happen are events like I had a meeting with somebody and it went great. What happened in that meeting? That would go under meeting notes. Or I saw something on a billboard that makes me think that I am on the right track. That gives me an event that would also give a positive spike. So events have a sentiment to be tracked alongside them. Creating an event allows me to set that sentiment so I can see if overall sentiment over time is positive or negative. And that's people talking about it or thoughts that I have in my mind, etc. Meeting notes allow me to take my AI agent generated meeting notes and dump them into one single place so that I can go find the information when I need it. Decision logs, I'll decide that I am not going to do flavored water for some reason with this particular venture. I can note that decision right now. It may have a neutral effect or it may have a negative effect. Again, I can just see how decisions were made over the course of the project and maintain a sentiment based on those decisions. And then the scope allows me to understand what's in scope and what's out of scope. So what's in scope? Gym water in 5 minutes delivered right to you. What's out of scope? Your office having water for the water cooler. So those are the kind of things I'd want to keep in and out of scope. Keeping all that together in this one area is beneficial. Now I can switch between ventures. So I can see all the ventures that I've added to Litmus, mostly testing, Some of them actual, yes, I've tested Litmus. Yes, it tests well. Here's the last one. But with that, I can get overall sentiment. I can get overall or the average score across the board, so I can start to rate and rank those, like what's the next thing I should do? I've got a free weekend, or I want to tackle something new. I've got some ability to do that. And then if I want to be able to check and see what's actually active and running, these are the ones that are actually marked as active. We talked a little bit about initiatives. There's 4 initiatives total. The initiatives help you aggregate things within your portfolio. So an initiative of mine is to generate a side income. I would love to see an additional income so that I could pay for my son's car, let's say, for instance. So that might be an initiative that I wanted to do. That's not life-changing money, but that is the ability to do something different. So that's initiative 1. A second initiative would be something along the lines of like change the world, leave my job, make sure that I'm able to afford the house in blank. Your ideas can be, or your ventures can roll up to 1 or more initiatives so that you can track how you are moving towards that initiative. Contacts of people that have interacted with your initiative. You'll be able to see who those people are and what it is that they thought about your particular ventures. That helps you keep track of who you talked about with which venture, or potentially who you should talk about with each venture as we move forward. Attributes, as we talked about before, all types, right? So that was one that I chose, but we have several types of, or several profiles for attributes. So if I need to roll these up to against particular values or metadata, I should be able to search against those. These are the kind of things that I need to search against at work. And then, if I have something at home that's like a fun one or something that's a potential life changer, then that would be a second attribute that I could add with a Boolean of yes, no, and then I can search against those. Calendar helps to roll up when did you enter, edit, add, or delete things. And then settings comes back to your original place where you can change your profile picture and set your about you and your information. What it's actually helped me to do is be more realistic about my ventures and ideas. It's helped me to set up a place where I can capture something as soon as I wake up in the middle of the night, or if I'm off thinking about it. And then it doesn't turn into like an imaginative thought spiral. It actually turns into something tangible that I can start tackling or decide is not worthwhile, which is the primary reason that I wanted this. What's best for me and what's not. So that's kind of Litmus in a nutshell as it stands right now.